Okay. Um, oddly enough, I can't hear you on YouTube. I wonder if maybe Tommy or Billy can. If you check out YouTube. Wait a minute. Now, I don't know if you did anything. Yeah, now I hear it. You know what it was? I think it's the delay I've got. So, anyways, sure, I don't mind waiting, but let's not wait too much longer. Okay. Yeah, how about that? What a whirlwind summer super fast. That's how I've experienced it. Oh yeah. Yeah. Hey, let me interrupt because both Billy and Tommy see they can't hear you. Ha! What'd you say?
Can't hear DJ.
Okay. 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 Well, let's. You may have fixed the problem already. There's a delay.
So, um, anyways, so I've been trying to step out into the rainforest, and you can only get the mower to go so far before it does that, and you'll have to, you have to back off and then push it a little further again. It's kind of like when a vacuum cleaner has something stuck in it and you just don't want to have to take it apart. You have to back up and just go a few feet at a time and start again.
Right. Right. Sometimes you gotta. Okay, so they are both reporting now that they can hear you.
Okay, good.
Yep.
So yeah, it's August and well, certainly summer because we're getting ready to close the theater down to darken our doors for a little while to cool the place off in here, because, you know, the air conditioning, it ain't free, and Mr. Train is still trying to collect on that bill the other year when we left it on for a whole weekend, Gertie.
She's don't mention it. Don't let her hear you say that. She's so upset about that to this day.
I mean,
not really, but no, we'll pretend she is.
I understand her apartment was being fumigated then, but still.
Still, exactly.
So, anyways, you know, as one is to do this time of year, some of us take trips elsewhere to get away from things and maybe cool off. And here I am at the beautiful California coast, Redondo Beach, which is part of the setting of this story, or at least that's where they're headed to. And I hear that Miss Gertie and her girlfriends are going to be heading out of town for a little bit. It's kind of why we have to close the theater. There's no one here to, well, keep away the riffraff.
Yeah. I mean, if she doesn't have to tend to the concession stand, she gets out of town while she can.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes she has to because there are restraining orders, but we're not supposed to talk about those.
Yeah. Now, who did you say she's going with?
Well, I hear tell that it's her annual girls' weekend, but it just so happens to fall in line with a friend's upcoming wedding. So they're having a bachelorette party for her friend Marcy.
Oh, Marcy.
Yeah, you know, I think this is husband number 3, but she's set the bar a little higher. This time she's marrying an insurance salesman.
Okay.
So,
all right. I don't even want to ask what happened to the first two, because you know. So why don't we get her? We won't say any of this. Gertie. Yeah. Ha. Here I am, boy. Am I glad we're going on hernia hiatus or however you call that.
Didn't you see the doctor about that?
Oh, many times. Many times.
Now, are you ladies going to the casino too when you cross the border?
Natch. Of course. Just try and stop me.
Now, if you want to keep the peace, this time I suggest that you don't tell the ladies that Wayne Newton is actually an impersonator.
Oh. Did you hear that, Gertie? I don't care. I really don't. I'll kiss him anyways. If he's cute.
Oh, well, speaking of road trips and maybe getting some, we gotta get the folks...
Okay. Nobody got any.
Almost at that gas station, but hey. Okay. But yes, Miss Gertie there, could you get downstairs for us and we'll let the folks know what we're talking about tonight?
Okay, here I go.
Okay, I think... Oh, wait, no. She didn't trip, no. Oh, she's just picking up her stockings. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Okay, well, here we go. Boom.
Olive is a middle school girl whose frantic home life has turned her attention toward happier things, like practicing for a talent competition with her live-in grandpa. She springs the latest event on her dad, after a really bad day at work. But before we know it, the whole dysfunctional family is California bound. Will Olive's emo brother break his silence? Will Richard and Cheryl play nice in front of the kids? What song has Olive been practicing to? Well, pack yourself up some fried chicken and hop on the bus. It's a road trip. It's time for Little Miss Sunshine with Toni, Collette, and Greg Kineer. Take it away, fellas.
What do you get when you take a dash to the silver screen? pinch of golden oldies, and a smidgen of streaming. It's time for Matinee Minutia with your hosts DJ and Toppie.
Ooh, it's a road trip movie. We haven't done one of these in a while.
Not since Bob Hope and Bing Crosby were on the road to Morocco or something. No, we never did that one.
Well, a while ago we talked about Thelma and Louise.
That was a road show.
And that was most certainly a cliffhanger.
Oops. I see what you did there.
Yeah. So, Toppie, we have a habit of putting people into the perspective.
We sure do. Tell us what was going on when this movie came out, DJ, in 2006.
All right. U.S. history in 2006. The Bush administration proposed spending $114 million on education programs to expand the teaching of Arabic, Chinese, Persian, and other languages not typically taught in public schools. Mostly.
Okay, I think that maybe went nowhere.
Well, it's no coincidence. It's all the countries that they invested their money. The Augustine volcano in Alaska, so, maybe Tim felt the rumblings, erupted twice in 2006, marking its first major eruption since 1986. So that's more than 20 years before.
Yeah, and that's when it became St. Augustine Volcano.
Okay. All right, and people started making mashed potato sculptures. And so NASA's Stardust mission. No, that wasn't Gertie's, trip to see the Hollywood homes.
No, or an Andrew Lloyd Webber.
It successfully ended, and it was the first return dust from a comet. All right, so an inhaled form of insulin wins federal approval, offering an alternative to injections for millions of people with diabetes.
All right.
Okay, well, we'll see where that went. Only the rich and wealthy can probably afford it. The colorized $10 bill is released with the same color shifting ink and security features of the $20 and $50 that came in new at the time.
And now they're perfectly normalized, but at the time, it was a little weird to see it.
It looked a little bit like that Canadian money. The Blu-ray disc format was first released in the United States in 2006. So, that's more than 15 years ago now, folks.
That's right. And in keeping up with the times, I've never gotten one.
Oh!
Yay!
Toppie, you are the reason the Megalomart still thinks that a disc is a disc. Anyways, the Space Shuttle Discovery was launched to the International Space Station in 2006, and it returned safely on July 17th. This was the second return to flight mission after the tragic Space Shuttle Columbia disaster a few years before. And on television, in the world of television, the CW network debuted as the sixth broadcast network, which merged with UPN, that thing that Paramount tried to make that was the home of Voyager. UPN, which is owned by CBS and split from Viacom 3 days after UPN went away. And also the WB merged into this. That's what the CW was. That was owned by Warner Brothers.
Okay, Warner, and it was UPN was the fifth, and then CW came out and bought up UPN.
Right, UPN or the CW was formed from UPN and the WB merging.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then the WB and UPN ceased to exist because they got married. And the last big event in 2006 was Google. The folks that make it possible for us to come to you from the comfort of our homes right now over there on YouTube. They bought YouTube in 2006 for $1.65 billion.
Probably a wise move.
I'm sure they saw some coin during the pandemic. So, 2006, it was a while ago, but there's maybe only been one graduating class of the kiddos. So, who left us in 2006, Toppie, that our parents and our grandparents probably knew?
Okay, celebrity deaths from 2006. Well, we saw the passing of Wilson Pickett at 64 years of age. He was a singer-songwriter. In the Midnight Hour, you'd know that, Land of a Thousand Dances and Mustang Sally. By the way, I want Tommy Hashbrowns to know I had all of that in my head. He's not going to believe that for a second. Coretta Scott King, at 78, she was, of course, an American civil rights activist and a widow of Dr. Martin Luther King. No, not doctor. Anyways, you know who I mean. Andreas Katsoulis, 59, actor. He was the reptilian alien in Babylon 5.
Jakar.
Oh, I knew that, DJ. You didn't have to help me. By the way, tragic, just terrible. Darren McGavin, my favorite actor, maybe this side of Bill Bixby, okay? At 83, he passed away. Of course, you know him from Kolchak, The Night Stalker, and a million other things.
Including the dad in everybody's favorite Christmas Story movie.
Yes, exactly. We saw the passing of Maureen Stapleton, a venerable actor of stage and screen. She died at 80. Well, she was in Cocoon and Nuts, but she's most famous for her stage stuff, really. Red Buttons. Now, that's a tale. Red Buttons, what an unusual career he had. Started in vaudeville, but ended up doing movies, and he did stand-up and all this stuff, but somehow became a serious contender when it came to acting. Of course, he was in the Poseidon Adventure. He died at 87. Mike Douglas, at 86, passed away. He wasn't. He didn't do late night talk, but he did syndicated show in the afternoons. That's when TV stations mostly played it. And died at 83. Former Democratic governor of Texas, Edward Albert, at age 55. You know him from Green Acres. Jane Wyatt.
No, that was his dad.
He's Edward and Eddie.
Yes, he was the son of Eddie.
Got you. Okay, gotcha. Jane Wyatt at 96. Well, our Star Trek connection tonight, of several probably, is that she played Mama Woman to Spock. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Or no? Okay,
yeah.
She did, yeah. And also, one of the most wonderful things ever was that she got to be in 2 movies portraying Mama. So I thought that was like, wow. Boy, she's still alive. Anyways, Robert Altman, famous director of MASH, he died at 81 years of age. And Peter Boyle, everybody knows him, died at age 71 from Young Frankenstein and Everybody Loves Raymond. Then James Brown died at age 73. Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, and Sex Machine, 2 songs that I'm well known for myself, but James Brown did them first. So that's our celebrity deaths from 2006.
Alrighty. So, Little Miss Sunshine, which is the film we're discussing tonight, and as you heard, this stars Toni Collette and Greg Kineer, as well as Steve Carell and Mr. Alan Arkin. Before we talk about the films that came out that year and where this placed, I figured we would give it a go and give you a taste of how they promoted this in theaters before it came out. This is the trailer for Little Miss Sunshine.
Okay, cool.
And if I can get to play...
I couldn't help noticing Dwayne has stopped speaking.
Oh, yeah, he's taking a vow of silence.
Cheryl, remember when
Olive was runner-up in the regional Little Miss Sunshine. Well, the girl who won had to forfeit her crown. I don't know why, something about diet pills, but anyway, now she has a place in the state contest in Redondo.
We're going to California. There are two kinds of people in this world, winners and losers. Sarcasm is the refuge of losers.
How much do I owe you for those pearls of
Oh, that one's on the house.
You're not going to charge me
Stop
for
it.
that?
Laugh it up.
You started it. A la mode translates as in the fashion. A la mode.
Frank, shut up. Everybody push!
Dwayne, that's your name, right? Are you getting any? My God, man.
Dad.
You should be getting that young
Dad.
stuff. I know you're a homo and all, but maybe you can appreciate this.
Dad, that's enough. Stop it. You're not going to shut me up. I still got Nazi bullets in my head. Hey!
Oh, how about that?
Stuck or something. Oh, jeez, I'm being pulled over. Everybody, just pretend to be normal.
Grandpa, am I pretty?
You are the most beautiful girl in the whole world.
And you're just saying that?
No, I'm not. I'm madly in love with you, and it's not because of your brains or your personality.
Where's Olive?
I can't slow down. I can't. Frank, come on, Olive. Come on, sweetie, jump. Jump in the car. Can't stop. Jump. No one gets left behind. No one gets left behind. Outstanding.
And that was the brief, almost Home Alone-like moment in the movie. They left the kid at the gas station.
What was so... that was a great moment. DJ, answer me this.
Yes,
Was
sir.
Little Miss Sunshine number one at the box office?
Oh, how long have you known us? we are the folks that hung out at the video store for the returns. So, in 2006, Little Miss Sunshine was a summer film. So, so aptly put, the sunshine was in its name. It came out in August of that year. Now, it was number 40 at the box office, so it wasn't the bottom of the barrel, probably placed somewhere around the middle. The top of the box office, however, that year was Pirates of the Caribbean, and now I'm told this is the second installment. There's many, and I probably haven't sat through an entire one because I'm prone to fall asleep in long movies that are dark. But anyways, Pirates of the Caribbean, Ted Man's Chest brought in $423 million, and of course that starred Johnny Depp. The number 2 film that year was an animated film by the likes of Pixar that later got acquired by the Mouse House, Cars, that had the voices of Owen Wilson, Paul Newman, and Cheech Marin, just to name a few.
And that we like to think that all of them were there recording their voices at the same time, and a good time was had by all. But of course, they probably never even met each other. But wouldn't that be interesting to watch Owen Wilson, Paul Newman, and Cheech Marin meet?
Oh my. Yes, right at craft services, there probably would have been a food fight. So number 3 at the box office that year was X-Men: The Last Stand.
Oh my God, it was that good. Number 3, that surprises me.
Yeah, now as the name implied, it was the last of the 3 movies that Patrick Stewart starred in as the lead character of Professor Xavier. And also, of course, it starred Hugh Jackman and brought in $234 million.
Yeah, it was their first attempt at doing the Phoenix story. Which, how can you F that up? But they did.
Uh-huh. So, to give you an idea what was competing with folks' attention when Little Miss Sunshine was out in the world in the theaters, the film that did one better than Little Miss Sunshine was a film that brought in $59.8 million. Now, I mean, with the cast in this, I really have to say, how did Little Miss Sunshine get beat out by them? David Spade and Rob Schneider in The Benchwarmers. Now, this is a movie about a trio of guys who try and make up for missed opportunities in childhood by forming a 3-player baseball team to compete against standard children's Little League squads. Okay.
Yeah. So that's a comedy, and our movie tonight is a comedy, but there can be really big differences in the level of comedy in your comedies.
I would say that Little Miss Sunshine, well, it requires a little bit more of an attention span, probably. And then one less than Little Miss Sunshine was a film called Little Man.
Wait a minute. How many little things can we have at the same time?
I know. Brought in $58.6 million, and this was a Wayans Brothers movie. No, they played, well, I mean, it's kind of like an Eddie Murphy movie. They tried to play as many characters as they could, just with makeup and outfits. This is a wannabe dad mistakes a vertically challenged criminal on the lam for his newly adopted son.
Okay.
So, you know, a decade or two before, it would probably have starred Dabney Coleman.
All right. Well, DJ, let me talk about the director. It's a little unusual this time because there's not just one director, there's two of them, and they happen to be a pair, like as in, I'm not sure they were ever married, but they lived together, as far as I know. To this day, they're living together. But they were a team, and and I'll tell you where they started, and you're not going to believe it, but they started in the music video industry as directors of music videos, and they had a tremendous amount of success because they happened to do a good job. Everybody liked how they showed off this band and that artist, and everybody wanted them to direct their video. So they were in high demand for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, for REM, for the Smashing Pumpkins, all those kinds of things. Things started to change a little bit when they stepped out of that, and they directed a number of sketches for the 95 to 98 HBO sketch comedy series called Mr. Show. And that was different for them, and sort of other people in the industry noticed them. Now in 1998, they established their own production company, and it's called Bob Industries. Let's see, what's the saying? There's your Bob. Shut the door, Bob. No, I don't know. Never mind. It's not important.
It's Bob's your uncle.
Bob's your uncle. I knew there was one. Oh my God! Shut the door, Bob. That's a good one, Toppie. All right.
Save that for our British friends.
Yeah, and so through this company, they directed commercials, and they did a lot of work for companies like Hewlett Packard, Volkswagen, Sony, Gap, Target, Apple, ESPN. And this brought them, I mean, people, they knew they were dependable, and they got the job done. And they began, because more and more people knew of them, they began to be offered feature films to direct. And they turned a lot of them down. Wisely. So they kept their heads on, is what I'm saying. They didn't accept the first projects that were thrown their way. One of them would have been the Mod Squad. Blah. Another one would have been Bad Boys 2, but they turned them down. What did they do instead? Well, they took their time to find the project they liked and loved. It turned out to be Little Miss Sunshine. And in this movie, they gave their actors a wide room to improvise and find the links to their characters. So there's a lot of stuff in here that wasn't scripted. You'd never know it if you saw the movie. You'd never guess. Well, I never guessed that a lot of it was improvised, and that the actors themselves kind of led the show. Later on, not once do I think I've given them a name. Isn't that terrible? I've been talking all this time, and I don't think I mentioned their names. It's Jonathan Dayton, for heaven's sakes, and Valerie Ferris. They're the two. This is the team. Jonathan Dayton and Valerie Ferris.
Oh, Dayton and Ferris. Sounds like a vaudeville act, but I'm bummed.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So they went on to direct Ruby Sparks in 2012, Battle of the Sexes in 2017, and they also directed a Netflix comedy series, Living With Yourself, in 2019. Their latest project is either on or coming, or soon to come. It's going to be on Hulu, and the series is called Fleischman is in Trouble. So they definitely are choosy about their projects. That makes them kind of interesting. So that's our director, Jonathan Dayton and Valerie Ferris.
Alrighty, so we are at about the halfway mark in the show. So we're going to step on over to the refreshment stand, and in light of our festive setting here tonight, Gertie's serving us up Beachcombers. Now,
the DJ, she can't hear us right now, but she puts sandy beach shells in it as a garnish. So just pretend you're enjoying it, okay?
Yeah, I mean, we had to stop serving the sex on the beach because, she was coming on to the people, but hey. So, alrighty, we have a clip from the cast of Little Miss Sunshine, and this is an interview with the little girl, Abigail Breslin, who's, of course, all grown up now. I think she's like 20-something. So
I'd love to see a picture. Have you seen a picture of her, what she looks like today?
No, but off to the Googles.
Okay, I just got to tell you, audience, she is the center of this movie in a lot of ways, and she's really good. When you watch her, you don't think she's acting, because she's just being it, and it's amazing. It is hard. Well, what do I know? But I don't think it's easy to get a performance like that out of someone who's so young. But they did it, and she is fantastic.
If you gander over in the chat room, folks, because we do this live, we're over there on YouTube, where you could see me at Redondo Beach, the setting where the pageant takes place across the street, because, in California, beachfront property is at a premium. But we have the interview, and then I believe this is the young lady all grown up in there. So, all right. Well,
I'll tell you, she's a pretty little thing. Look at her.
So we're going to go ahead and play this interview with Abigail Breslin when she was, I think about 10 or 12 years old.
Hello and welcome to Unscripted. I'm your host, Paul Dano, and I'm here with the lovely star of Little Miss Sunshine, Abigail Breslin. Can I call you Abby?
Yes, you can.
Abs. Which do you prefer?
Either one.
Okay.
It's fine with me.
All right. Well, we're going to interview each other with some questions of ours and yours. So I'll start with the first question. Abby, what did you like most about playing your part?
I liked playing my part because I got to dance a lot, and because, I don't know, just because I got to dance a lot.
I liked that too. We had some pretty nice moves, I think.
Yes, we did. What was it about Little Miss Sunshine that made you want to do it?
Well, I first read the script, and I loved it. And then I met with John and Val, who were very cool, and they'd actually done some of my favorite music videos, which I didn't even know before I met them. I was like, oh, I got to work with these two, and it was an awesome script and part. And then once I found out Abigail Breslin was going to be in it, I just, I had to be a part of it.
Well, of course.
How much cooler was I as an older brother than your real older brothers are?
I don't know. What do you mean by...
Like, what was I a cooler older brother? Or do you
all
like your
three
own
of
real
you
brother?
are cool. All three of you are pretty
all
cool.
right, all right.
So you're all pretty much, like, equal.
All right.
Like,
But they didn't poke your fat suit like I did.
Well,
You liked that. Oh? Okay.
what actor or celebrity would you most like to meet?
Well, so I'd like to probably meet Bob Dylan above anybody, but actor, I don't know. Right now, maybe Philip Seymour Hoffman. When did you realize you wanted to be an actress?
My brother Spencer, he was an actor first, and then I just did commercials, and then movies, and then...
And now you're here.
And now I'm here.
Now you're here.
What was your favorite part about doing the movie?
Probably getting to annoy you day in and day out for 10 hours a day. And also getting to be stuck in a van with you and Alan Arkin and Greg Kineer and Toni Collette and Steve Carell. That was pretty cool. How do you balance school and acting?
I'm homeschooled, so we bring my school, when I'm working, we bring my school, and I either have like a studio teacher or my mom teaches me, and then like we just do it when I have breaks. But you have to get like 3 hours a day in.
So while you're filming, you have to do school on the same day while you're filming?
Yep.
Oh,
pretty
man.
much. I know.
Oh, man.
I know. What do you think about Little Miss Sunshine? Like, what's your favorite part about it?
Well, I was really nervous to see it, but we just got to see it with an audience for the first time, and everybody was just so excited by the end of the movie, and I guess I just didn't realize how good the movie makes you feel. And I mean, it's smart and funny, and you feel for all the characters, but I mean, it's just such a fantastic ending. I didn't know how enthused everyone would be when we're all dancing and clapping and cheering, and I don't know if I expected quite that reaction. So that was pretty great feeling. How often do you still do your dance moves from Little Miss Sunshine?
I sometimes show my cousin it a little bit, and I sometimes show people like little teeny
You do?
itty bitty things,
Oh, wow.
but like only like, but I don't know all of it now. Like, if you told me, okay, do the whole dance now, I'd be like, well, there's this and that, and then there's this.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really know it.
Yeah. I do it about every day in my bedroom when I'm alone now.
Well, you like to dance.
Yeah, I like to dance. What can I say?
Finish the sentence, okay? The 3 things I love about movies are...
Well, the 3 things I love about movies are making them, getting to work with people and new friends and new relationships and bonds, and getting to be creative. And then I love watching movies, just a movie fan, love to go see movies. And then, I like how they can make other people feel good or bad, happy and sad. Finish this sentence. The 3 things I love about movies are...
Well, I like to go to different places, like if I'm working in somewhere else. I usually work in LA or New York or somewhere like that. But then if I work somewhere else, that's really fun.
Yeah.
I like to see the movies when I'm finished doing them. And but sometimes I get really nervous to see them because I'm like, oh my goodness, are people gonna like it? Are people gonna not like it? So, and then if they do like it, then that's fun. But the 3rd thing, like you said, I like meeting different people and sometimes, make friends. And
Thank you to Movie Phone, and thanks for watching
and sending in your questions. Bye.
And we are back. Alrighty, so we just heard before the break about the director, the team that made this film, that stood behind the camera and told everyone where to be. So I will just start off talking about the cast, the talent in front of the camera. Now, the leading lady of this film, who is Miss Toni Collette. Now, she's a favorite of mine, and she's been in such films as Muriel's Wedding, and she also did a film just a handful of years after that called Cozy. She basically is someone that comes to work at a group home, and she has to instruct a team effort on something, and they end up producing a play. So, quite a fun movie. Anyways, Toni Collette played Cheryl in this movie, the mother. Collette was born in southeastern Australia, the state of New South Wales, and that's the territory that's right next to Sydney, the biggest city. Her first film was called The Efficiency Expert, and this was a film in '91 with Anthony Hopkins, of all people, and Russell Crowe. Little Miss Sunshine was Toni Collette's 28th film.
Good Lord.
Yes. Her film before was called In Her Shoes from 2005. Now, I want to see this because it has Shirley MacLaine and Cameron Diaz. And the story is a straight-laced Rose breaks off relations with her party girl sister Maggie over indiscretion involving Rose's boyfriend. The chilly atmosphere is broken with the arrival of Ella, the grandmother neither sister knew existed. That was In Her Shoes from 2005. And then the film after Little Miss Sunshine was something called The Night Listener, and this was from 2006. Now get this. She's worked with Anthony Hopkins. She's worked with Shirley MacLaine. Who do you think she's going to work with next? Robin Williams and Sandra Oh. And The Night Listener is about, in the midst of his crumbling relationship, a radio show host begins speaking to his biggest fan, a young boy, via the telephone. But when questions about the boy's identity come up, the host's life is thrown into chaos. And
this was one of his very serious movies, was it not?
It was, yeah, around that time that he did that 1 hour photo movie.
Right, where he was a villain. Is he a villain in this one, The Night Listener?
That's a good question. I have not seen it, but I would certainly look into it. It's going on my list, as most Robin Williams films are. In the 5 years prior to Little Miss Sunshine, Toni Collette averaged 2 films a year for a total of 10 in that 5 years. Changing among these films included in 2002, she was in a film with Ben Affleck called Changing Lanes. Also in 2002, she was in a film with Meryl Streep and Nicole Kidman called The Hours. And in 2004, she was in a film with Matthew Broderick and Alec Baldwin called The Last Shot. Now, coming up to more recent years, Toni Collette continues to work in film and television, and in 2022, she appeared in a film called The Estate, which featured Anna Faris, David Duchovny, and Kathleen Turner. So there's a bevy of a cast there.
Hello, I'm Kathleen Turner.
Yes, I don't stop smoking if I'm not talking. Two sisters, and the story of this was two sisters attempt to win over their terminally ill, difficult-to-please aunt, I wonder who Kathleen Turner plays, in hopes of becoming the beneficiaries of her wealthy estate, only to find the rest of their greeting family members have the same idea. And that was The Estate. Now, in 2023, so this year, Toni Collette has appeared already in 2 films. One called Mafia Mama as the lead character, and it's an American mom inherits her grandfather's mafia empire in Italy. Guided by the firm's consigliere, it's an Italian word, she hilariously defies everyone's expectations as the new head of the family business. So, to date, as of 2023, Toni Collette has 92, just short of 100 acting credits, and she's still going.
Yeah, she really is amazing. She's amazing in this movie. She does exactly what they need. She's an everyday woman who's never, I don't know, you just believe everything she does. Now, am I totally off the wall, or was she not in the Coen brothers movie Fargo? Was that her in that?
I can take a quick look-see while you wander down the lane there. Let's see.
Yeah, I may be mistaken. That may have been someone else, but if you find out, I'd love to know who it was. If it wasn't Toni Collette.
It does not appear so.
Okay. All right. Maybe someone in the chat room remembers who was so memorably in the lead role there in Fargo. All right. Let's talk about the actor who played the father, the wife to Cheryl, Toni Collette. And that is Greg Kineer, who's had an interesting career, I think. First, he was born in 1963 in Indiana. He is of Scotch-Irish descent, and he grew up as a foreign service brat, which means he moved around a hell of a lot, particularly from Beirut to Athens and back and forth. So, you get a little bit of an international perspective when that happens to you. Of course, I wouldn't know, but you would think. While a student at the American Community School in Athens, Kineer first ventured into the role of talk show host, a role that he would have some success with over the years. But this first one was when he was in community school, which I'm not sure is that something akin to pre-college? I'm not sure. Maybe it was high school. But he had his own radio show called School Days with Greg Kineer. And eventually he returned to the United States. Frances McDormand. Thank you, Tommy Hash Browns. That's who was in Fargo.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And boy, she was good in that. Greg Kineer eventually returned to the United States for a university education. He was at the University of Arizona. He graduated in 1985 with a degree in broadcast journalism. So he seems to be going on a path here that he thinks he's good for. Kineer hosted a short-lived game show called College Madhouse. It was spun off from the kids show Funhouse. I know nothing about either one of these. But eventually, he started getting offered roles for acting, and he started to pursue them. So he started thinking of himself more than a talk show host. And beginning in 1988, he was in the made-for-TV film What Price Victory? And then he goes on to numerous guest stars on television shows. He was on Life Goes On, Mancuso, FBI, The Larry Sanders Show, Friends, Modern Family, The Unbreakable Jimmy Smith. So he did the rounds. And in 1991, coming back to what he thought he was really good at, he became the creator, co-executive producer, and host of a show called Best of the Worst, which aired for about 1 year and kind of led to him to being in his first really big break, which was Talk Soup. Who did that? Talk Soup. Was that MTV?
Oh yeah, that was I want to say it was the precursor to. It was called Entertainment Television then. It's since been changed.
It's Entertainment Tonight, or what is it?
No, it's E Online is what their name used to be. They've merged with something else and their name has changed. But when they existed, it was called E Entertainment Television, and it was also where the guy from Queer as Folk got his start too.
Okay, so that was 1991, and he was the host of Talk Soup, which he did for the next 4 years. When he left it to do his own, this is a big gig here, his own half-hour NBC late-night talk show called Later with Greg Kineer. He did that from 94 to 96. After that, and I'm not sure what happened, did another guy take over NBC Late Night because Kineer's contract ran out? I don't know. Was he fired? I don't know. But that's when, also in 94, concurrent with his late night talk show, he was in his film debut, which was 1994's Blank Man, which I'm guessing is something of a parody of superhero movies. I don't know. In 1995, Kineer won the part of David Larrabee in Sidney Pollack's remake of Billy Wilder's 1954 classic, Sabrina. He played the lead role in the 1996 comedy Dear God. In 97, here we go. This is another huge break of his. He was cast in James L. Brooks' comedy drama As Good as It Gets, with Helen Hunt and oh God, DJ, help me.
He passed away a few years ago.
No, I think he's still alive. Oh, good heavens! The chat room will save me. Mm-hmm. Anyways, as good as it gets, he received a nomination for Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor.
Bill Paxton was the one who was in Twister.
Yes.
Okay,
that's true. Yes. When someone says the goddamn name, you're gonna just say, "Toppie, you're an idiot." That's what you're gonna say. All right. Thank you, Tommy Ashbrown comes in again. Mm-hmm. Yes, it was Jack Nicholson, for God's sake. All right. Thank you, Tommy. After As Good as It Gets, he was in another popular movie, You've Got Mail, which seems like ages ago. He was Kathleen's, that was Meg Ryan. It was her significant other. Other films are Mystery Men, Nurse Betty, Loser, which is kind of funny, given the idea of what a loser is in Little Miss Sunshine. The Gift and Someone Like You is another movie. Autofocus. He was in The Matador. He was in Invincible. And he was in Fast Food Nation. And then in 2006, he co-starred with Steve Carell in our movie tonight, Little Miss Sunshine. More recently, you would have seen Kineer in the movie Misbehavior in 2020. He was in Crisis in 21, and he was in Sight in 23. And also, he had a stint on Broadway when, in 2022, he appeared as Attica Finch in the Broadway run of To Kill a Mockingbird, perhaps replacing Jeff Daniels, I'm not sure. On March 9th, 2023, Netflix announced, so very recently, Netflix announced that Kineer will guest star in Part 2 of Season 4 of You, as Tom Lockwood, the father of Joe Goldberg's, played by Penn Badgley, latest love interest, Kate, played by Charlotte Ritchie. So that's our Greg Kineer, who, I don't know, is very good in this movie, and I think he's distinguished himself over the years.
So another member of the cast that I'll just breeze through quickly, because I think that we'll take this opportunity before we mention our last cast member, because the last cast member that we're going to give honorable mention to recently passed away, so we want to make sure we focus on them. But in the film that we're discussing tonight, Little Miss Sunshine, in case you lost your place, let's see. So the brother of the mom was Frank, and Frank was played by Steve Carell, who, of course, we know from TV's The Office and movies such as Bruce Almighty 2 and The 50-Year-Old Virgin. And then, of course, a film that I really liked and wish there had been a sequel. There was a modern take on Get Smart, from the 70s, and it starred Anne Hathaway.
Was he in that?
Oh, he was the lead, Toppie.
No!
Yes, and Anne Hathaway very brilliantly played 99 in that film. So that was a film that deserved a sequel, but its time has passed.
A sequel.
It did. I mean, they did on the bonus materials for the movie. They did a little mini movie of the nerds that worked in the technology lab for headquarters in that movie. So, but anyways,
this is neither here nor there.
Mm.
But I'll be damned. There were two Get Smart movies at different years, at different production levels. Oh, wait a minute. The one you're talking about was long after the actor Don Adams died. Right?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
And it had Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in it.
Okay, well, actually, before. Anyways, that's not important. I don't want to get into it. I think Steve Carell looked cute as hell with his beard in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you felt, but I thought he was darling looking, just as far as looks go.
Yeah. So before we talk about Alan Arkin, our honorable mention tonight, I wanted to just reflect on the movie and some of my favorite moments. A listener mentioned that they felt this movie was a difficult watch, and certainly there are uncomfortable moments in the movie. I mean, you have a young girl who's entering a beauty pageant. Cringe. Nowadays, that's considered grooming, and it's one of the reasons why people feel that drag can be controversial. We're not teaching children stereotypes and things like that in 2023. Stop teaching your children that it's okay to dress sexy. But anyways, this movie was so terrific in so many moments, especially when Alan Arkin's character was talking to everyone in the car and giving them a piece of his mind. And if you didn't know it, Abigail Breslin was absolutely listening to something in her headphones because they did not want to hear the foul language, because this movie was rated R, that Alan Arkin was using.
Oh, that's fascinating. That's fascinating.
And I don't know about you, Toppie, but one of my other favorite moments in this movie is when they stop at the gas station and Alan Arkin, the grandfather, hands the brother who was recently out of rehab some cash, and he says for him to get him some adult magazines, and he tells him to get something for himself. And that was just so terrific, because that gave an opportunity in the film for two scenes to happen. The one in the gas station where Frank, Steve Carell's character, runs into his estranged ex. And then later on, when the police officer pulls them over as their horn wouldn't turn off, and surprise, I won't give it away, but there's another surprise in the back of the vehicle. It's not.
Yeah, let's just say something that none of us watching want the cop to discover, and yet, Greg Kineer is convinced that they're busted in a serious way. But he finds the skin mags, and in a little creepy bit, he goes, "Hey man, oh yeah." He calls the father over privately to say, "Oh yeah, I approve of your sex mags." And he turns to the next one, and it's some gay man.
Right, but Greg Kinnear's character could have saved that scene by saying that they were his wife's, but that was just so awkwardly funny when he was like,
he didn't deny it
options.
To the cop. He just sort of said, "Oh, you're not into that," or something like that. Or, yeah. Not into it?
I just felt it was so terrific, because there was certainly something else that the cop could have discovered, but he was just fixated on this material.
Yeah. Tommy in the chat room, I don't think we've said this yet, but trigger warning, there is the idea of suicide in this movie, because Steve Carell character, we come to understand very soon that he's just out of the hospital because he had tried to commit suicide, and they were placing him in the care of his sister, Toni Collette. And Tommy Ishbrown said that he did find this one poignant, but maybe indulgently so, and he prefers for a suicide comedy, Garp, The World According to Garp, which is a movie we did here.
Yes, last year I do believe.
Mm-hmm.
But
if I interrupt, please continue.
Oh, so I was just simply going to say, bringing it back to the topic of the pageant and sexualizing children, it was just so fantastic because since I was reading that since this film took so long to produce, the normal course of a pageant would have had several winners, so they couldn't keep anyone in it that was actually in a real pageant. So the winner that they had as Miss California, I believe, was an actress, but I just found it to be so hysterical. It was one of those sort of reality flash moments, because here I'm in awe watching this movie when the children are being sexualized, of course, and most people seem to be offended, but then the person who is the title holder, the Miss California or whatever her name is sitting there at her table, the judging table, clapping along as this little girl is performing a dirty, nasty dance that her grandpa taught her.
Right. Yeah, now, do you think that, as I watched, I said to myself, Toppie, those are real girls that really entered these pageants. They went out and they found mothers who'd be willing to put their kids on screen, and yet I have to believe, if that's true, that they didn't tell the mothers what the movie was about, because this movie does not have a high opinion of this at all. And it portrays them, because we sort of see the sexualized kids with all their makeup on, doing their things. And I certainly found it awkward, and Greg Kineer certainly found it awkward, because we see many scenes of him reacting and just like, am I seeing? Because they don't expect this at all. One of the things that's interesting is that neither the mother or father have done an ounce of research into what any of this is about. And so they're completely taken aback when they find these kids in heavy makeup striking sexual poses, and they're just like, whoa, did not know. And of course they know that their daughter doesn't even have her hairstyle. It's just pulled back into a braid, a ponytail. And they had no idea. And anyways, I just thought, I think they found real pageant kids.
I'm sure they did. But yeah, I mean, it's one thing to not know what's going on where you are, but if your own child is in a performance, don't you think the parents would at least know the song and the dance that she's doing?
They should have. They should have known a lot of things, but that's the folly of this whole thing.
Right.
Is that none of them know what they're getting into. And it's completely absurd. Completely. And, Alan Arkin's character, the grandfather, is the one, that teaches her all these subversive moves.
Oh, and tell us about Alan Arkin, Toppie.
Yeah, let's get into that. I chose this movie because Alan Arkin recently passed away, and I just think he's brilliant, and he's been in so many interesting things. And this was the one that won him a Best Supporting Oscar. And he was, he hasn't been that lucky too much, although he did get some Emmy nominations, and and things like that. But I think this was his like only Oscar and only recognition after a very, very long career. So Alan Arkin played the grandfather, Edwin, and his real name is Alan Wolf Arkin. Born in 1934, passed away this year. American actor and filmmaker, and in a career spanning 7 decades, he's received numerous accolades, including that Academy Award, a BAFTA Award. Oh, he did get a Golden Globe Award, and by God, he got a Tony Award. So there, and then 6 Emmy Award nominations. All right. So this kid, little Alan Arkin, was taking acting lessons since the age of 10, became a scholarship student at various drama academies, including one run by the Stanislavski student Benjamin Zemeck, who taught Arkin a psychological approach to acting. And so, I mean, we can say he was seriously into this. And Arkin attended Los Angeles State College from 51 to 53. He also attended Bennington College. But despite all this serious study, he started singing in a folk group. Yeah, singing and playing the guitar in a folk band. It was called the Terriers. Believe it or not, they had 2 big hits. In 56, 57, they had Cindy Oh Cindy and Day-O. That's the Banana Boat song. I think slightly before What's-His-Face made it more famous. And they also played themselves in a 1957 music movie called Calypso Heatwave, where they did the Banana Boat song. So I just think that's really interesting and weird. Eventually, Arkin began getting more interested in acting and improvisation, and he became an early member of the Second City comedy troupe in the 60s. And so he started to appear after that in the early 60s on TV episodes. You know, he made the rounds in L.A. He was on East Side, West Side. He was on ABC Stage 67. But also, right around very early on in the 60s, he made his Broadway debut as a performer in From the Second City at the Royal Theatre. But his big break came on the Broadway stage, starring as David Kolowitz in the Joseph Stein play Enter Laughing, 1963, and that's where he won the Tony Award for Best Featured Actor in a Play. He would later return to Broadway in 64, and he was in the comedic play Love. And in 71, Arkin directed a play. He directed Neil Simon's The Sunshine Boys. And for that, he received a Tony Award nomination. But it was really in the movies that Arkin gained his stardom, and people started knowing him by name and face. One was The Russians Are Coming in 66. My favorite, Wait Until Dark in 67. And then The Heart is a Lonely Hunter in 68. So these are coming boom, boom, boom right after another. Poppy in 69. Catch 22 in 70. There was a little bit of lull. And he did The In-Laws that we did here on the show in 1979 with Peter Falk. So funny. Later on, he took on more supporting roles, smaller roles, like in Sunshine, our movie tonight. He was a supporting role. He was in Edward Scissorhands in 1980, Glengarry Glen Ross in 92, Grosse Point Blank in 97, 13 Conversations About One Thing in 201, Sunshine Cleaning in 2007, Get Smart, there we go,
Mm-hmm.
and Argo, rather famously in 2012. And for his performance as this foul-mouthed grandfather, he teaches his granddaughter these sexy, anarchic moves that he knows damn well what it's going to do. And he teaches this innocent girl these moves that will shock the creators of this pageant.
It's a Rick James song. It's Super Freak.
Yeah, exactly. So, Tommy Hashbrowns is terrified or totally embarrassed for me that I forgot Harry Belafonte's name and I called him what's his face. I'm sorry. I should have known that. That was that was his Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Arkin also directed 3 films. One included the black comedy Little Murders in '71. He was on television in various productions over the years, for which he won Emmy nominations and such like that. And more recently, in 2015 to 2016, he voiced J.D. Salinger in the Netflix animated series BoJack Horseman. 2018 to 2019, he starred as a talent agent in the Netflix comedy series The Kominsky Method. And he earned 2 more consecutive nominations for Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Series for his character in The Kominsky Method. And very most recently, he appeared in the film Spencer Confidential in 2020, the cartoon Minions. He did a voice in The Rise of Gru. And there is a movie yet to come out. And it will, Arkin will appear posthumously in the movie The Smack in 2024. That's Alan Arkin.
Alrighty. So, we want to move things along because I hear the tones of that ice cream truck coming. That's Gertie's ride coming down the road here. And so we're going to talk about things that you might enjoy if you like Little Miss Sunshine. This is our snack tray. So I'm going to recommend a movie from 2013, so a few years down the road. This actually also happens to star an older Abigail Breslin from Little Miss Sunshine as one of the supporting characters. And this is a film about another dysfunctional family. It's a comedy drama, August Osage County. And this stars Meryl Streep and Julia Roberts. It's a look at the lives of the strong-willed women of the Weston family, whose paths have diverged until a family crisis brings them back to Oklahoma, where they grew up, and to the dysfunctional woman who raised them. And that was August Osage County from 2013.
Nice choice. All right. I chose Fish Tank. If you loved our movie tonight, you might be interested in Fish Tank. It was from 2009, and it's a sincere portrayal of a British working class life through the coming-of-age story of a girl who loves rap music and dancing to it. And it features a brand new actor, Katie Jarvis, who was found living on and performing on the streets just before, to be cast in Fish Tank. And it's her first movie, and it's pretty stunning. And actually, it's a very powerful performance. But she plays me, a 15-year-old teenager whose world drastically changes when her mother's new boyfriend turns his eyes to her. And it's a much more somber movie than our movie tonight, but it is that it captures that story of a girl who's coming of age and wants to do this one thing, rap and dance. So that's Fish Tank from 2009.
Alrighty. So, Toppie, what's special about next time? What's coming up next?
Well, I'll tell you, Deej. There is no next time. Because we're going to be on hiatal hernia. Hiatal, whatever it's called. And so, but we will be returning, right, after our summer break.
Yeah.
We're returning September 15th. Doing the same thing with a brand new season. What is it, season 6?
Season 6. So we're going to come back after the kiddos have been sent back to school, and you have a moment's peace again. And, well, we're hoping that the landlord hasn't changed the locks, because I don't know if the rent's been paid.
I don't either, but we'll cross our fingers. We do love our Marionette Theater here in Spuds Flat, New York. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, and I hear that in some parts of the state there's a sauerkraut festival going on this weekend. So,
well, sauerkraut. Oh, by the way, quick recipe. If you ever wanted to do a really... Okay, there's something that happens to sauerkraut when you strain it and then put it on a baking sheet with potatoes and drizzle it with olive oil and add onions and bake the potato sauerkraut and onion mixture. It becomes caramelized or something, and it becomes completely unlike sauerkraut. What I'm saying is it's a taste sensation. Take it from me, Toppie Smellie. Listen, we're going.
Oh, right? My goodness. That sounds like something you'd find at a gas station while traveling in Germany.
Well, okay. Give me that. Sure.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, because you've traveled with us. We love gas station treats.
Yes, we do.
All
Anyways, before we go, I want to thank the people who were nice enough to stop by while we were doing this show live, because we do it live first and third Friday of the month, and we'll be back, like we said, September 15th. But in our chat room tonight was your hubby, Billy Starsage. We had Lamont Cranston. Lamont Cranston.
From New York City.
New York City! Yeah, New York City. We had our old pal, ever-present, trusty Tommy Hashbrowns. By the way, my personal thanks to Tommy Hashbrowns, because I'm staying at his house right now.
Oh!
In fact, I'm broadcasting from his abode. I've had a very lovely time, and it's just been a relaxing, just very, just a change of pace for me, and we've just had a really, really nice time. So, Tommy, thanks for being a great host and let me stay here. A
word of advice, while visiting Fort Maple, don't get too frisky with the scarecrows. They don't like that.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. All right. Well, thanks everybody.
Oh, and you forgot Cronehaven dropped by for a moment.
Cronehaven, the ever mysterious, has been here also, and we love her. So thank you, Cronehaven.
She said she was doing a time zone dance, so she couldn't get the math right.
Yeah.
All right, folks. So we will be back just after the Labor Day holiday. You can come back here, MatNameMinutia.com, on the third Friday of the month, which is September 15th. And we'll have a special return from summer. Maybe we'll do something summer themed, perhaps. So, all right. We're going to say goodbye, and you can't see it, but we're waving. And, here comes the music.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Gracie, where'd you go?
I'm here. Good night.
Good night.
Gracie.
Thank you for listening to Matinee Minutia.
Our show streams live on the first and third Friday of the month.
Go to MatineeMinutia.com, click the YouTube icon for live video, enter Discord or chat.
You can find our show anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Visit our webpage at MatineeMinutia.com.
Tweet us on Twitter at Matinee Minutia.
Find our group on Facebook.
Have an idea for a show? Or why not let us know how we're doing?
Email us at matineeminutia@gmail.com.
Okay, and I will stop the broadcast.